here we go with match number 1. This is the Turbo Empress Deck. For those that haven't watched the deck tech for this, ignore that. That's just my cat being a brat. This deck focuses around Empress of Ice. We use things like Treacherous Pass to help us with other mono Sapphire cards because we're mono Sapphire. Uzu's just there to help accelerate out this. I think we can keep this hand. One moment. Cat just causing a catastrophe. I think we're just going to play a slow shard on here and throw out Treacherous Pass. Anybody that's playing the ladder recently would know that after this weekend, when I kind of like cracked the code with this deck, and it first showed up on Jeff's stream, and then he started playing it from there, it's kind of exploded all over ladder, and you have more mid-range decks like this Kagalichu deck that is preying on that a little bit more, but it's really not a secret if you run into Uzu, basically what people are playing. So we're going to get to 3, and it's a Kagalichu deck. Let's see. I think I am knowing that I'm going to make some conversions to some of it, which we will see in the deck tech later. Because right now I have a lot more Treacherous Passes in right now than I do Transmogs, which would be way better against that. I think I'm going to just throw out this shard. And I guess I'm passing. I don't remember how often Kagalichu decks tend to run out Hero Fall. If I had to guess, he probably has it. I mean, he's playing Blood, so it'd be safer than sorry to do that. So it'd be a real downer if this got Hero Fold this turn or next turn, because we can't play both of them at the same time. This is the one time that the Sapphire coins is a lot worse. I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot worse than the rest of the coins, because you have to have a troop to do that. This might have been a bad hand, knowing what we're up against. I think I'm just going to run Empress out there. If he doesn't have an answer for it, then we're golden. If he does have an answer for it, he would have had the answer beforehand anyway. And if it's a Strangle, then we're fine. If it's not a Strangle, then we're still not fine next turn anyway. So this is a deck that we kind of need the Transmogs in, and we don't really need these Treacherous Passes because they're not really going to be using the larger or the like Dreadling type things. And there's the Hero Fall, so we basically lost this, at least because of the hand that we kept. Yeah, it's gonna look really bad, but I'm just gonna chip it in there. We kept probably a greedier hand than we should have, but we don't really want these Treacherous Passes in here. We probably don't need one of these Consults, because we can kind of like aggro them out after we get out there, but we would like these Transmogs probably. Frostbite wouldn't be that bad against them either. With their larger threats, we just kind of have to hold them down while we beat their face in. Verdict wouldn't be bad for Rotten Rancor, just because that is one of their key cards, or at least usually ends up being one of their key cards. I think most lists, if this is the Crusader, I'm not entirely sure, but I think most lists run like 2 I know older ones ran somewhere between like 2 and 3. I might also be misremembering entirely. I think we're just going to bring in the transmogs. This might not be a bad spot where Mad Robomancer is in there, because Mad Robomancer is in here for grindier matchups. I also think we're going to change some things around in here during the break. I know Jeff and I are divided on Halt. I like having Halts in here. They're good for hero falls, but more on the controller aspects, where we're going to bring in Halt and Verdict. And Halt's just an extra answer in there. I think we're just going to go with Transmog. Long explanation for basically nothing. We should have had... I know some people have been having more success with like a completely without Treacherous Pass in the first, and then we're going to use the Arcane Focus here to try to find one of our payoff cards. Hopefully it's not just 2 shards. Now this is a hard decision because Copycat helps our payoff cards. I think I'm just going to take the Copycat because we already have something on 2. And Copycat really lets us push that full advantage of our payoff cards. Warp Steel Swordstorm is kind of like another version of the Cultivator. This would be a lot better if we had in the Treacherous Passes, or if we knew we were going to have Commander Prompt. And if you hear that in the background, that is just my cat messing with... basically, instead of feeding him in just a bowl, we are making him little like puzzle toys that he has to work out the food. So he finally figured out how to open it and is going to be using that, or doing it through that. And we do get punished with the Consult. That's much better with the Shard Sworns. But it's not that bad with the Skittering Cult. Actually, it's not going to be that great either. We're going to run out here. This could get strangled easily. They also could have been the correct position, or the correct decision on the Arcane Focus to not take the Copycat and take the Shard Sworn, just because that would give us access to more Dreadlings. Because what I want to do is just attack here, and on the... if this untaps, consult with it, and the Dreadlings to consult for 1 and hopefully draw like an Empress or something like that. This is probably going to get a Blood Threshold, and I don't know if he's just going to outright Hero Fall this. He's just going to play the Ruiner. We're fine with that. He's going to smash in for 1, get a resource. We might just transmog that before it does anything. And now you have fun with your Barrier Bot. And we're going to untap and then consult here. And we do get the Empress of Ice anyway. Let's see, do we want to consult here? Do we want to... Yeah, we probably just want to bury him in card advantage. But I think I'm going to do it in the other order so we can get in with the Skittering Cultivator. So we're going to play Empress. We're going to play a Sapphire Shard. Do that. This is why we're running Uzu, so we can power out the Sapphire Thresholds, the 5 Sapphire Thresholds. If you're not familiar with Empress of Ice, Empress of Ice is part of a cycle where it's all these some kind of royalty of a particular element that are 3 cost. I want to call them maidens. They're the maiden cycle. I don't really know. Maiden 3, the queen cycle. They all don't really have a particular theme. This is like Bride of the Damned, Daughter of the Poet, Magistrate of Flame, Might Singer of... Yeah. But they all have, when you gain a threshold, do something, and then when you have 5 of that threshold, do something else. And they have an ability associated with that shard type, and that's about it. And I am holding up my opponent. That's really annoying. I am sorry, opponent. But we're going to copycat this Empress just to make sure we have an Empress and we can hold down their cards basically for the rest of the game. We're going to consult with that. Hi, kitty cat. What are you doing? What's up? We just draw shards. That's slightly unfortunate. And then we're just going to crack in for 2. So now that we have at least an Empress on here, all of his creatures, we're going to be able to hold them down tapped. He could, however, Hero Fall, which will get rid of the rest of ours, so we'll only have this Empress for the rest of the game. We can't even copycat this one because it will be held down, if that makes any sense. Then he gets back Hero Fall, which is going to be really unfortunate. So here, I think we're just going to cycle one of these cards to try to get a payoff somehow. So if we copycat this Empress, it's going to become a copycat, so we don't want to do that. We'll probably hold up this copycat until we get another payoff card. So we're just gonna hit him for 5. Play a shard and pick up the trash can that my cat is determined to knock over. And then we're going to pass the turn. Probably going to ready this. So it'd be a nice trick if we had a commander prompt. We could ready this in response to, say, a strangle, but it's just going to get hero falled anyway. This would be a good surprise if he plays, say, like another rabbit, a Runier, comes in here and we can surprise him block. Steal intel. Gonna get Transmogrifade? I wish they would really have like target things on here. No, not the transmog. I don't know what he put in there. Might have been, was it an Empress? Might have been Empress. Yeah, it definitely was an Empress. But he's never going to get the full effect from it. So we have another one of our payoff cards. We're going to play Tribunal Magistrate. We kept our second copycat for situations like this. He's being a big brat today. He's being a giant brat today. And we're just going to crash in for 15. So we go to game 3. Transmogrifades. We're going to be on the draw now. I think on the draw, I think we I'd bring in the Halt this time, just so we have an easy answer to, like a Hero Fall. That kind of would disrupt their plans. Actually, our plans wouldn't have been disrupted there basically at all if they didn't get the second Hero Fall back from their champion ability. That's kind of that's a thing of their abilities. This seems like a keepable hand. I have 2 Shard Sworns here, and 2 Empresses, or a Tribunal Magistrate. That's probably better than on 3 if we get the chance to do that. Cottontail Explorer. I'm gonna get 2 shards, Bride the Dam, and the bin. That's not the best Rancor target. Alright, that's perfect. We're going to then play a Shard Sworn here. And do we get the 50-50? We don't. Depth Crawler comes in with a random gem. We only play Sapphire Thresholds, and there are only 2 minor gems that can be put in this. So it's a 50-50 shot whether you get the Summon 2 Dreadlings one or the on actions you get +1/+1. The actions one basically doesn't come into play. There's an Underworld Crusader. Yeah, we'll take one. I think here we're going to Sapphire Shard. I guess the best thing to do here would probably play the Magistrate. We won't be able to answer this with like a Transmogrifade right now. But this is kind of an answer that if anything else that they play, they'll get Spiderling Eggs in their deck. And it's kind of a must-answer thing. Otherwise, we're going to hit them for a lot next turn. And if they answer this, then we can start playing Empresses and kind of lock down their hand. And well, not their hand, but their board. So we're probably going to lose the Magistrate here. Or we're just going to get stuff in their deck. I'm going to play Battle Hopper, that's going to boost this a bit more. They're going to crack like that. I think we're going to block here. If they have a Strangle, then they will do that. So now we play Empress, Sapphire Shard, tap this down. Lock down your guys. Hold up a Transmogrifade. And crack for 2. Which, if they have a Hero Fall, I'll probably actually just Transmogrifade my Empress in response. Which shouldn't screw us over unless we get really, really lucky. Or really, really unlucky. But we get a Spiderling as well. And otherwise, if they don't have a hero fall or some way of getting rid of the Empress, which another great thing. Let's see. Probably going to bring back Bride. Does not have 5. So he's going to fight. And then play a Sapphire Shard? Or a Shard? Oh, right, because it has lethal. Okay. That's why we have the second Empress. Although we probably will transmog this at the end of turn. We just don't want to deal with that. Okay, so this might be a little bit of a misplay by me. I don't know if I had another chance to respond. But I'm going to lose this, but I think we're going to Transmogrifade now. Too bad they're not talking here. But that's they're trying to get rid of our Dreadlings here. That's still not good. What do you get? Attacks, they get lethal. Ugh. Although we're gonna tap them down. So we're gonna play Empress. Hopefully they don't have another hero fall. If they do, then that also sucks. So we're gonna tap that down. We're going to I think I'm just gonna play the Shard Sworn here to be most resource efficient. And we got the Dreadlings on both of them before attacking. I could attack and then play that. It doesn't really matter. They don't have any resources up. So Empress is going to hold down their team at least one more turn. Hopefully we can find a payoff card and we just kind of like do it a whole bunch and crack them for $1 billion. But my guess is they have a hero fall. Yeah. Man, we just cannot draw our payoff cards. Guess we can focus. She'll power this up. Kind of just looking for a commander prompt here. I don't think we can actually kill them with a commander prompt, but that we get a copycat. Didn't really want to get a redraw. Could have got a redraw. Doesn't really matter. Let's see. We could copycat their rabbit. They'd give us speed and a 4/4. This would only give lethal to these and itself. Not itself. Okay. Yeah, I think we just copycat the rabbit, make some Dreadlings. We're not gonna die immediately on the crackback. But we give them some things that they have to answer. This doesn't actually get speed because I don't actually have a blood threshold. That is important to remember, people. But it is big. There are some ways we feasibly die on the crackback, but I don't think so. I'm going to be taking a lot here. So they just picked up either a Runeer or a Crusader from this. Yep. So that's 9, 10, 12. They can get 14 if they play another creature. Troop. Right, that's gonna give them all... Okay, I'm dead. Forgetting about gems that currently don't seem apparent. That's probably lethal, right? Yeah. We never drew our payoff card, so that's okay.